Hey crafters! Welcome back to my channel Because I'm Crafty. My name's Caitlin and today I'm going to be doing the seamstress tag. So this tag has been going around for a while. It's certainly not new, but I believe it was created by Hollie Dolly here on YouTube, and I will have her link down below, as well as the questions that she created for this tag. And I really like the ones that she came up with, so let's get into it. So the first question is, who are you? So again, my name is Caitlin and I just turned 23 on February 10th. I live in Ontario, Canada, about an hour and a half north of Toronto. Question number 2 is, when and why did you start sewing? So I started sewing in 2011 and I was just going into grade 11, and I always knew that I wanted to sew. I just didn't have an outlet for it or anyone close to me that could teach me. So it was one of my teachers in high school. It was a careers class, which was a class about discovering what you may possibly want to do post-secondary. And he had suggested talking to his neighbor, who was a Canadian fashion designer. And so he gave me her contact information, and that's how I got in touch with Joanne St. Louis. So I talked about her briefly in my Smiley Challenge video, but once I contacted her, she decided that she wanted to do some sewing classes. So first she offered a summer camp. So it was a week-long camp, and we would go for 2 hours a day and sew, learn how to sew and make garments. And then after that, she started an after-school program in her workshop in the town that I live in. And so I took those after-school classes and I started to become really good. So she asked me to help with the younger kids' classes. So she had a class for around 6 to 12, and then she had like 13 to 18 kind of age group. So I started helping with the younger kids' classes and then attending the older kids' class. So that's kind of how I got into it, and then because I got so good so quickly and I just really had a passion for it, that's why I decided to do post-secondary. But that was the only sewing kind of training I had before going to George Brown for fashion design, because my high school didn't have any fashion program or class. So that's the only training that I had, and that's how I went with it. So the next question is, what is your favorite or proudest make? So I think my proudest and favorite make, I think I gotta pick 2 from school, and one of them is my lingerie set. So I took a lingerie elective at George Brown, and the other one is the dress that I made from my draping class. And we weren't required to make the final product. We could have made it out of muslin, but I decided that if I was already putting the work into making the muslin, I might as well make the full dress. So I'll put some pictures up here of both of those. And also for my lingerie set, I made a Adobe Illustrator fashion drawing of my lingerie set. That was part of the project, but we could have hand drawn it. But I decided to do it with Adobe Illustrator, and I think for the lingerie set, it's one of my favorites because it was so unexpected. I'm more of a quiet person, and a lot of my classmates knew that, and so when I came out with this black and red kind of very daring lingerie look, they were very surprised that that's something that I made or would kind of design. So a lot of people were really surprised and impressed with how kind of crazy I went with it and kind of how sexy, I guess you could say. But I'm really proud of that make. There were a lot of people that were surprised, and yeah, I'm just really happy with how it turned out. I put a lot of hard work into that. And my draping dress I'm really proud of just because of the fabric choice. I mean, as soon as I seen it, I knew I had to have it for this project, and it was something that was kind of half inspired by a picture that my teacher showed me, so that was kind of the inspiration for the top part of the back. I really love that look, and the front skirt was something that I seen something similar on Pinterest, so I decided to drape that, and I think it just turned out really well, and I just love how it looks. So the next question is, what is your most disastrous make? And I'll be honest, I had a hard time thinking of what that item was because I work in an alteration and sewing shop, and so I touch a lot of different items kind of over the years, going to school and doing all my sewing classes. There's a lot of different things I've made. So I kind of had a hard time thinking of something. But one of them, which I don't believe I even have anymore, was I attempted to make a maxi skirt out of a like jersey fabric. And it was a scrap from something else I think I'd done or made. I'm not even sure where the fabric came from. and it was kind of an odd shape, and I thought, oh, I'll just sew it up in a tube, sew an elastic in the top like a casing, and then I'll have a little slit at the back, because the fabric that I had, the shape that was left, was almost like a triangle, and so the bottom was like very tapered. So my thought was I'll like leave part of the back seam open so that there's a slit so you can like walk easier. But I had no idea what I was doing with knits at that time, and it was a total like crisscross mess. Like the seam was like on a total angle because it was not cut like straight. I just kind of like sewed whatever was there together, so that was definitely a no-go for that one. Next question is, where is your favorite place to go fabric shopping? So I haven't discovered a ton of places since I do live so far away from any kind of major city, but definitely when I was in school, going to the fabric district in Toronto at Queen and Spadina, that's definitely where I would go first, and I love a lot of those shops. Fabricland, of course, for anything that you quickly need, although pretty much every Fabricland around me is at least an hour away at this point. A lot of them have closed around me. Online, I haven't discovered too many places, but right now my favorite place is Urban Custom Fabrics. I've talked about them a few times on my channel, and I just love the designs that she comes out with for her digital printed fabric. And she does cotton lycra, French terry, and brushed poly, and she does a little bit of swim here and there. But I really love the quality of her fabrics. She's done a round with solid colors as well, and I purchased 2 from that round, and I love those also. So I really love her fabrics. You can find Urban Custom Fabrics on Facebook and the website as well. Number 6 is, what is your most used pattern? And I must say that I don't really have one. I kind of rarely use patterns. I find that the printed ones that you would buy at Fabricland or something like that, that I don't like the way they kind of tell you to make the garment or do the finishing or have the inside. A lot of the times I just find it not totally professional, and anytime I've used a pattern like that, it's not always turned out quite right. Like, it's not fit properly. So I don't enjoy those patterns, although I do still use them from time to time. I kind of just do it however I want to. I like to self-draft a lot, especially taking my own clothes and using that to kind of cut out the shapes, especially if it's a garment that fits me well. I like to take the shapes that already exist and cut new garments out that way. So I have used a pattern a couple times in the last few weeks, and that's the slim fit raglan pattern from Patterns for Pirates, and I really enjoyed how that one came together. I had no issues with it at all, and I love the outcome of both of my garments that I've made. I might be making a few more out of that pattern for sure, and hopefully you guys have entered that giveaway that I was doing. And I'll be keeping that giveaway open till the end of the month. So go and check out that video and enter for a gift card to the Patterns for Pirates website. And the next question is, what is your most dreaded sewing task? And I gotta say, it's unpicking. I definitely do not enjoy unpicking, although I have the most beautiful seam ripper. I've talked about that in past videos. I love my seam ripper from BWA Wood Turning. It's amazing. You can check out my top 10 sewing tools if you want to find out more about that, and I usually have them linked down in my description. So I love that seam ripper, but I hate unpicking because it just means I did something wrong, and now I have to kind of backtrack to fix my mistakes. So that's definitely the thing I hate doing. So the next question is my favorite sewing task, and that would be finishing. I love when I get to the point of a garment where all I have to do is press it, or sew on buttons, sew on a hook and eye, or anything like that. I just love doing the finishing because it means I'm almost done, and yeah, that's my favorite part. Number 9 is, what is your favorite sewing entertainment? So what do you like to do while you're sewing? So I like to listen to podcasts. There's a few different podcasts I like to listen to, but that's definitely, I like to have someone kind of talking in the background. Or I like to watch YouTube videos, especially if the podcast has a video that goes with it. I like watching those. But yeah, YouTube or podcast is definitely my number one thing. So the next question is printed or PDF patterns. And I haven't had much experience with both, I would say, honestly. So when I was in school, we were in class for drafting, so we had to self-draft everything. So I wasn't really using store-bought patterns at that point, and I hadn't used many before that either. And PDF patterns, as you know, I just bought my first PDF pattern and used the slim fit raglan and the peg legs from Patterns for Pirates. So I haven't had much experience kind of in both realms, I guess. But but I would say, considering how well my PDF pattern turned out with my little tops and my peg legs, I would definitely say I favor that over the printed from past experience. So number 11 is, what sewing machine do you use? Now I use quite a few different machines because I have different ones at home than I use at work. So at home I have, for domestic, I use a white brand sewing machine, and at work I use a Kenmore. Both of them are older machines and they're like little tanks. I love them so much. Definitely recommend getting an older machine if you can, because it means most of the parts inside are metal. And for industrial machines, at home I have a Singer industrial straight stitch, and at work sometimes I use a Juki industrial straight stitch, so those work really well. And for a serger, mine's a Kobe, and at work we have a white brand serger, and I really like that one. And the last question is, do you have any other hobbies? And I've got to say, hands down, it's YouTube. Sewing is such a huge part of my life that YouTube kind of takes over the rest of it. Any other free time, I'm working on my YouTube videos, I'm working on ideas and DIYs. That's definitely even more so my hobby over sewing, because sewing is kind of, I guess, more of my career. But yeah, definitely YouTube, and I love it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Seamstress Tag video. If you have any other questions about myself and my background, leave them down in the comments below and I will do my best to answer them. Make sure to follow Becauseimcrafty on Instagram and Facebook, and share your creations with me with the hashtag Becauseimcrafty. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe before you leave so you don't miss out on any future videos. Make sure to enter that giveaway before it's closed at the end of the month. And I'll see you next time, crafters. Bye!